Let's now jump across continents to Europe and talk about one of the largest and most impressive computer companies out of that region. And that, of course, is German software service provider SAP, global leader in enterprise applications. That means applications developed for just about every aspect of one's business, from manufacturing, data analytics, accounting, etc., etc. Listed in Frankfurt, there's an ADR in New York, but let's talk euros for the moment. 113.2 billion euros. Price to earnings ratio 32.6, dividend yield of 1.36. Ironically enough, Hasso Plattner and the guys that started this business in the early 70s were a German team of IBM that said, you know what, let's go and start our own business.
Yes, that's what clever people do once in a while. So yes, a lot of intellectual capital within SAP, and they've moved with the times. Obviously, technology has changed a lot since the 1970s, and at the moment, they also have a cloud platform, a new platform, HANA, H-A-N-A. And they've built the latest version of SAP. Previous version was R3, they're now on R4, and R4 comes on the HANA platform as well. So it's a software as a service solution, it's on the cloud, you just plug in, you need internet connectivity. Instead of paying millions of euros or dollars or rands up front, you rather pay a licensing fee. But the expectation is over a 3-year period, the company will have roughly the same return. So we're just going into this transition as they fill up the bucket with more licensing income. And they've made a lot of acquisitions since 2010 as well. So got dual CEOs for the last 5-6 years. Made a lot of acquisitions, and that sets them up very well now for this new world, the cloud world.
Because they really are the dominant player in this space. So, you know, when companies, big companies, get to the scale where they want to automate all of their business processes, SAP has modules which basically are plug and play for the different parts of your business. Not entirely. I mean, they still use a lot of third-party integration software houses in order to make that happen. But they are by far the, you know, strong choice. Another way of putting it is, no one ever got fired if they were the CTO or the CIO, whatever they call themselves, for picking SAP as their, you know, core enterprise software. Whereas plenty of people have been fired because they, you know, bought some other thing, or they saw some hotshots that reckoned they could solve their business processes.
I do think some CTOs or CIOs did get fired after they did a SAP implementation and it ran twice over budget, because that also happens. But that's not necessarily the fault of SAP. It might be the local partner who's implementing the SAP solution. And it does quite often happen. And once again, that risk is now negated to a great extent by just plugging into the cloud, that you don't have the risk of on-premises implementation running so significantly over budget, as sometimes happens.
Well, let's have a look at the share chart. Is there anything else that we should put down here? I mean, it's been on the market since 1998. It's been 180 countries, 335,000 different customers. Management seems very stable, as you said. How do you feel about this one, hot or not?
I think it's solid, it's a cash cow, it's growing slowly, but management have positioned the business with the acquisitions and the transition to the cloud in the last 4 years, that even though they've seen margin pressure, the expectation is from now, they've reached the turning point and the margins should expand again as this licensing revenue flows into a greater extent. So at this inflection point, to some extent it's in the valuation, but I think if you're optimistic that they're going to do this whole shift in the business successfully, there's still value in the company at this price.
I'm going to go with you and say this one's hot too, because from my perspective, the absolute vital role that being advanced with regard to cost management and organizational efficiency for large corporates has never been more intense. I mean, almost everybody, whether you're a telecommunications company, a bank, a manufacturing concern, a miner, you know, who's digging platinum out the ground, across the gamut of global operations, logistics, the importance of data analytics and being able to work out where your money is going and where your assets are being used effectively and how it all integrates has never been higher. It's an absolute must spend. So
definitely, definitely. And we see that on the JC. Some companies can come up with results a month after year end. Some take 3 months after year end because they actually don't have the data, or they can't get it in real time or in enough time. So SAP, it's a business imperative. Enterprise resourcing planning needs to be as efficient as possible. That puts them at the front of most people's minds.
So you're happy to go hot on this one too?
I am, yes.
Good.